Right everyone, it is Finn here and welcome back to another Premier League prediction video where today we've got some gigantic games to talk about in Premier League Match Week 20. Of course, just to show you how much of a big match week it is, I even got Isaac to send me a prediction or two of his. So of course, if you guys are interested in seeing that, make sure that you do stick around. And of course, as usual, if you do enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe. But of course, as I said, because we've got such big games to jump into, looking at game number one, we have Aston Villa versus Leeds. Now, it is no secret at all that neither of these two teams have performed to expectation this season. But in terms of a team that I do think will take the 3 points, I do think it will go in Aston Villa's favour. Look, Leeds United on the attacking front have had promising moments this season, but defensively still not quite there. Aston Villa have been brilliant under Unai Emery, only one Premier League loss in their last 5 games. They seem to be the better team, and because of that, I'm going to give them the result. I mean, I still don't know what's weirder looking at their managerial situation. The fact that they've currently got a manager with multiple European trophies, or the fact that their previous manager seems to be linked to managing Robert Lewandowski. Weird. Now, jumping into our second game, we have the Manchester derby. Manchester United versus Manchester City. Isaac, take it away.
Thanks for having me on, Finn. Obviously, a lot of exciting matches in the Premier League this weekend, but of course, one of the biggest ones. Now for the Manchester derby, Manchester United versus Manchester City, and both are currently at that top 4 spot. United are only 4 points behind Manchester City. Again, really of a flip of a coin. It's hard to bank on either of these teams to progress. Right now, in the past 3 fixtures, though, in the Premier League, City have been victorious over United. That doesn't mean United, throughout recent history, have also had their fair share of getting the best out of Manchester City. It's a really tough one to call, but I'm going to say it finishes in a 1-1 draw for the two clubs. I'm going to say both are frustrated here because they definitely want to grab a win, but they'll both take the point at the end. We shall see.
Thank you very much for that, Isaac. Now, of course, I won't lie to you guys at the time of recording. This is before Isaac has sent me any footage, so I've got no idea who he predicted. But looking at Manchester United versus Manchester City, yes, I know it's going to sound like the Manchester United biasness in front of me or inside of me, and yes, it probably is.
What did he say?
But I think Manchester United can take this one. Yes, I know it's incredibly controversial, considering the fact that Man City won 6-3 last time around. Please don't remind me. But looking at Manchester City, I just feel like in a lot of their previous games, although yes, even when they do get results, they haven't been dominating the way that we know Manchester City can. And they've let a lot of... I can't speak English. They've let a lot of points slip, and it's not usual for this Manchester City team. And versus a Manchester United team that are hitting top form at the moment, getting clean sheets, scoring goals, I think United could steal the points here.
Don't
what?
Don't give me hope.
Brighton versus Liverpool is next. Now, weirdly enough, this could be a super close game. Looking at Liverpool in their previous game, they were absolutely smacked by Brentford 3-1. And looking at Brighton, they beat Everton 4-1. Looking at the meetings between these two teams in the last 5 games between them, Brighton have won 1, Liverpool have won 1, and there have been 3 draws. This could be an incredibly close game, especially looking at the current Brighton form. I won't lie to you though, although I do want a fairy tale story, I do still have a gut feeling that Liverpool will take it. Once again, they brought in some semi-decent players over the transfer window.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
I feel like if they do gel, they could be deadly, but as I said, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Brighton took it. Next up, we have Everton versus Southampton. Now, yes, I know it's not quite the level of the Manchester derby, but looking at these two teams, both in the relegation zone, and both have a lot on the line at the moment. Look, neither of these two teams have played to expectation this season whatsoever, and I'm essentially just waiting for Big Sam to knock on one of their doors.
You're not the real heroes. I'm the real hero.
Looking at Everton though, for some reason, once again, I do have a gut feeling that they could take this. Although, once again, this season, they've been absolutely dreadful. Saying that though, they have had some promising moments where I can't say the same about Southampton.
Well, this is awkward.
As I said in terms of this prediction, I am going to go for Everton, but it's not necessarily because I think they're better. I just think Southampton's worse, sadly. Nottingham Forest versus Leicester City is next. Now, looking at a game like this, I genuinely have no idea which direction it could go in, which is kind of sad to think about considering how high up on the table Leicester City used to be in recent years. But looking at them at the moment, I've kind of come to the conclusion that Vote Face has the defensive ability of a wooden spoon.
How dare you!
and just is not Premier League material. And because of that, I'm kind of worried for Leicester City versus Nottingham Forest. Looking at Forest, they've put out some very solid performances as of late. They seem to be gaining more points lately than Leicester City, so it could be a real close encounter. But once again, for some reason, I am going to kind of go for a gut feeling here, and I do think Leicester City could take this one. You know what? In fact, I think both teams could take points here, and I am going to do a bit of a U-turn in terms of my prediction, and I'm going to go for a draw. I think both teams will give it their absolute all. I don't think Leicester City will play to the level that they should, and as I said, the points will be shared. Next up, we dive into Wolverhampton Wanderers versus West Ham. Now, looking at Wolves, they are the lowest scoring team in the Premier League at the moment, and West Ham United are the third lowest scoring team. So as much as I do want to put a 3-3 draw or a 4-4 draw, I do think it is going to be one of those boring 0-0 draws. Maybe I'll be optimistic and put a 1-1 draw. I just don't think it'll be an entertaining game. Once again, two very underwhelming teams. I mean, I have no idea what someone put in the Premier League waterhole that so many top performing teams have been so dreadful this season. Once again, both teams will be looking to do better, but this time around I don't expect anything exciting. Next up, we've got the Battle of the Bees, and no, I don't mean like bumblebees and honeybees. I mean, looking at Brentford versus Bournemouth, I do think once again this could be a relatively easy prediction to do. Looking at Brentford in their previous game, obviously dominating the likes of Liverpool, where Bournemouth obviously in their previous game got crushed 3-0 by Manchester United. I do think this is a relatively easy one. I think Brentford have had a phenomenal season so far, and I think they'll get a comfortable 2-0 win over the Cherries. Now next up, we've got another interesting fixture with Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. Now looking at Chelsea, in their last 11 games versus Crystal Palace, they've won every single game. But looking at things this time around, things could be very different. As you know, Crystal Palace on the attacking front, when they want to switch on, they can be a super good attacking team. And looking at Chelsea, they've only won one of their last 8 Premier League games, which considering the amount of talent in their team. But I guess to be fair to them, they could literally start a starting 11 of injured players at the moment that is better than their current team.
Are you serious?
It's kind of sad to think about, but looking at Chelsea missing their main players at the moment versus a very strong Crystal Palace team, I am going to go for a shock result here, and I do think Graham Potter's team are going down. Once again, I don't necessarily mean that in terms of the relegation zone, but as I said, at this moment, I wouldn't even be surprised if Big Sam showed up at Stamford Bridge. Now, jumping into our second final game before we look at the North London derby with Isaac's prediction, we have Newcastle United versus Fulham second last. Looking at Newcastle United, once again, they've had an absolutely phenomenal season. Attacking-wise, defensively, only one loss this entire season. And I know, yes, they didn't play the most exciting football versus Arsenal in that 0-0 draw, but the reality is sometimes you do have to play negative football if you want to get the results.
This is football heritage.
And versus Fulham, I can see them getting the results once again. In fact, more than just 1 point. I can see it being a full 3-pointer with a 3-1 win. But that, ladies and gentlemen, takes us to our final game of Matchweek 20 with Tottenham Hotspurs versus Arsenal. Now, before I give you my thoughts and opinions on it, once again, let's look at Isaac.
The North London derby between Arsenal and Tottenham. Now, right now, Arsenal are looking like the favorites as they're sitting at first in the Premier League. They've been fantastic this season, but of course, don't sleep on Tottenham. They're looking for a way to make it to that top 4 spot. And obviously, nothing would be sweeter for them than to ruin Arsenal's hopes and dreams to win the Premier League. As right now, they do have a decent cushion above City, but if Arsenal keeps slipping a tad bit, even if these matches finish in draws, City can definitely top them eventually. Although I definitely think we shouldn't rule out Tottenham here. I wouldn't be surprised if this one finishes in a draw actually, but I'm going to say Arsenal edge it for a 2-1 win. I think it's going to be close.
Once again, thank you very much, Isaac, for your predictions in this video. Once again, if you guys want to follow Isaac, please make sure to check him in the description down below. Please make sure to subscribe to him. But looking at Tottenham Hotspurs versus Arsenal, I have no idea what to do in a game like this. Looking at Tottenham Hotspurs, they've really dropped the ball on this one. They've really been dropping points at the moment. We're looking at Arsenal. They just seem to be so strong at the moment. As I said, yes, they didn't get the 3 points versus Newcastle United, but on the attacking front, they really gave it their all. And if they kind of continue that kind of attacking energy versus Tottenham Hotspurs, I can see a whole different story. I think even looking at these two teams, before Arsenal were even good.
What do you mean by that?
They've been dominating this fixture in the last 4 meetings. Obviously 3 wins in the last 4 meetings. And now that Arsenal are by far the better team, I've got a lot more faith in them. Although once again, this is Tottenham Hotspurs. Anything can happen. They always seem to switch on in weird moments. But this time around, I do think Arsenal will take this one. And as tempted I am to go for a 2-2 draw, I am going to give this one to Arsenal with a 1-0 draw. But that, ladies and gentlemen, will be it for today's video. As I said, if you have enjoyed it, please make sure to subscribe to this channel. It helps the channel out massively. We are looking to gain 10 10,000 subscribers this year. Let's see if we can make it happen. Don't forget to subscribe to Isaac down below. Once again, thank you so much for his contribution to this video. Guys, this has been Finn, FYNN, and until next week, I'll see you all soon. Cheers.